Hey guys, we're Bowling 95, recording live from the local county prison cell. So I had to wait until after the holiday, obviously, to do this, and then Hulk Broly came out, so I couldn't do it that day because that would get overshadowed. So I waited until, well, today I guess is technically the day Hulk Broly comes out on YouTube, but I was talking about like the first membership. Um, I was gonna, because they released the trailer for like the hints at all the next season's fights, and they're looking at there's going to be one with Yoda, there's going to be one with an Attack on Titan character, there's going to be one with a Steven Universe character, there's some other shit. If the Attack on Titan one ends up being Blake versus Mikasa, I'm going to fucking hang myself. But, point is, like, I was kind of forced to be like, well, do I want to do what I did last time they did this and do, like, some matchups that I think might be the ones and kind of, like, predict it? And then just kind of delete them and redo them when it actually comes out. And then I thought, like, I don't really feel like doing that because now that I think about it, like, that was a misstep on my part. Because I think I just coincidentally had both of them ended up being wrong, by the way, last time. I thought it was going to be Miles and Midoriya, and then I thought it was going to be Ryuko oh, and we're getting Ryuko, by the way, in the next one, too. I thought it was going to be Ryuko and Krona, but as it turns out, it was neither of those fights. Um, but yeah, so I kind of I'm like, let's skip anything that I think is gonna happen next volume. Then again, this one could happen next volume, and I'd have no clue. Uh, and then I'd be kind of pissed, to be honest with you. But this is one that I meant to, this is one of those ones that's like really old, and it was on my really old list of stuff to do, and I thought I did it, and I just didn't. And now that I'm looking back on it, it's actually way better than I thought it was. So I'm gonna do it now, and I'm thinking I can actually go into it, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't do it before. So this is Harley Quinn from DC Comics, obviously, and Tira from Soul Calibur. There's a lot of fights you could put Harley in, and most of them, like, I think this one was just like the famous one that I thought of for a while. And it was just, oh, they're both kind of jesters and stuff, like, they both have that kind of like look to them. And as Harley Quinn became more popular over the years, because don't forget, Harley Quinn was not the mainstay superstar that she is now at all times. She used to be kind of like a, cult classic character. Now it's kind of like the reasons other than their just appearance is what makes it better. Um, like I've seen stuff like Harley Quinn versus Jinx, Harley Quinn versus Tank Girl. That's basically just like all those characters are. I mean, not so much Tank Girl because I think she came out before, but most of those characters are just kind of like, you know, wannabes of what Harley Quinn has become. Um, but I think the character development reasons for this is actually a lot better because I mean Harley kind of you know worshipped the Joker and became was obsessed with him and kind of was you know manipulated into doing his bidding, and you can define the Joker as being like pure evil. And then Tira is a willing servant of Soul Edge to the point where, unlike everyone else, she didn't have to be possessed by Soul Edge. She just willingly follows the bidding of the blades. So it's kind of like you've got these two people you know corrupted by evil and darkness in their own universes, and one of them ends up breaking away, the other one ends up whatever. That's not the point. But let's get into the actual fight here. So Harley Quinn, so the backstory of her being the Joker's psychiatrist who ends up, now there isn't a further backstory of like her ex-boyfriend ended up like trying to kill her or something, and she ended up killing him, and that's why she became a criminal psychologist to cope with that or something. But then she met the Joker, and he took advantage of that, and point is, she was a Joker psychiatrist. Got sort of manipulated by him, broke free eventually, and ends up going out on her own, going back and forth between him, yeah, but still. An important thing about that, though, is that not only did she gain all of this experience, uh, fighting, fighting Batman and Robin and Batgirl and the Bat family alongside the Joker, she also, after being left for dead by the Joker, was saved by Poison Ivy. And Ivy, in order to save her, I think she was left in like a warehouse full of Joker toxin or something. In order to save her, had to inject her with a chemical that not only made her resistant to almost every form of poison, but also gave her made her borderline superhuman levels uh of like acrobatics, speed, durability, made her like very peak human, and in terms of like agility and acrobatics, made her like almost superhuman. And also gave her, a modified heat, like a slight healing factor. In some incarnations, it's not even there. In some incarnations, she can heal from bullet wounds in a matter of minutes, so while fighting. So, that's, I think, somewhere in the middle ground is where that is. Um, so she is indeed actually peak, if not superhuman level. And then the years after that, she ends up having, you know, she ends up fighting on with the Gotham Sirens. She ends up on the what are the Gotham Sirens, the Birds of Prey. Though I don't think she was ever originally in the Birds of Prey, but that's not the point. And she also ended up the Quintets, which was her own team, and then you know semi more famously the Suicide Squad in multiple incarnations. So Quinn has had a lot of experience in terms of like she is kind of catered towards this life. Um, and in terms of weaponry, there's a lot of iconic weaponry in the DC universe. Harley Quinn's got a couple of things she likes. She'll carry, well, first of all, she'll carry guns, so that's one thing. And then, recently she has the baseball bat, though I prefer the more traditional, mallet, but that's not, she'll bring that back every now and again, though. But yeah, very dangerous opponent. Same could be said for Tira. So Tira was originally she was brought in to an assassin's organization. Something about like something of the bird. I don't know. Where she kind of, after being the childhood trauma of seeing like her family, killed, and then being adopted by a rich family. Right, she had her family killed. She was adopted by a rich family. She ended up killing that rich family, and because of that, was ended up being picked up by an assassins guild. Right, that was the kind of inclination of the her split personalities, where she could be this completely happy go lucky person, and then be a bloodthirsty psychopath the next minute. So the Assassinations Guild that brought her up and pretty much raised her and trained her to be an assassin since she was like, what was it, like 8 or something. She ended up being raised her entire life to kill. And she utilized that split personality to do that. That is until she gazed upon Soul Edge for the first time, and the evil of that sword actually split those two sides into like physical personalities. So now there are two forms to Tira. There's, I think it's like Happy Tira and Mopey Tira. Happy Tira is more of a hit and run kind of character who will will chip away slightly at you and then, dodge and all these things to avoid damage. And then Mopey Tira is the opposite. Well, she will go in for, go in for the kill even at risk to herself, and will even damage herself with some of her moves. Damaging from the ring blade, her weapon of choice. This is just a circular blade that she carries, kind of like a hula hoop that she just flings around and does all this cool stuff with. She can throw it, she can jump through it, she can do all that. It's sharpened on the inside and the outside. She actually has to wear special gauntlets on her forearms to prevent her arms from getting cut. But that's what I mean about she is willing to risk, harming herself to hurt others with that personality. Now, she will switch between. It actually has made her more deadly because she will switch between fighting styles to throw her opponents off and kind of, keep them from being able to read her fighting style. But with a hard enough hit, she can actually be knocked between them. So after, I'm very paraphrasing this story here because Soul Calibur has very long, detailed stories. After essentially traveling with Soul Edge and being the watchdog for the weapon, she's been exposed to it enough that she actually has absorbed slight bits of its magic, almost like radiation, to the point where now she does not age, and she's kind of like eternally fit to where she is. But also, she has the ability to steal souls of those she kills, and those she cuts with her blade, she steals a small amount of their soul at a time. Not enough to, finish them, but enough to basically heal her wounds using that bit of energy that she steals from them. And if she kills the person, she will just absorb their soul altogether. And in a kind of ironic twist of fate, instead of, now she's been raised to kill, now she has to kill to survive, because she actually feeds on the souls of those she kills. So, she will lose that eternal youth, and she will end up, dying without killing. So, that's fun. But anyway, who do I pick in this fight? So, all in all, this is a close fight, because, it's two, close to human characters. And neither of them has, a super huge kill shot. If I look at, Harley using guns, maybe, but, I don't know if Tira has fought, Cervantes in canon, but, he uses guns, so it's not, that big of a deal. But I'm leaning towards Harley here, and there's a couple of reasons. A, Tira's been trained her entire life and is at peak human, whereas Harley is slightly above peak human in a lot of aspects. And Harley has experience as well, so it's not like she's, just banking on this, physical attributes. Two, as far as the healing factor goes, Tira's healing factor is reliant on her being able to land hits, whereas Harley's is just innate. Even if we kind of middle ground it between not barely being there and being, super human healing factor, it's still more consistent and effective than Tira's is. And third, probably the most important aspect of this fight that I think it's very interesting that it comes down to this, is the psychology in this fight. Harley Quinn is a trained, qualified, criminal, psychiatrist. The fact that Tira has two distinct personalities that affect her behavior and fighting style, Harley's gonna pick up on that right away. And if she notices that, I can just switch her fighting styles by hitting her hard enough, Harley's gonna eat her for fucking lunch, essentially. It's just, she's gonna completely exploit that mental weakness. And, it's not like this isn't something similar to what Harley's been through in terms of worshipping the, so, I definitely give it to Harley here. Not by a huge margin, but it's interesting that the most important advantage is something psychological rather than something like a physical trait. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Harley Quinn here. Appropriately, I should show you my poster of Harley Quinn I have there that I used to have. That's my background. But anyway, yeah. This is a fight I'm glad I did now. I think it's better than if I had done it before, and good thing I got it out of the way. Anyway, we're 195. See ya.